You could sum up Matt Walsh's videos to one sentence, and it's man angry because things are different.
It may come as a surprise to you youngsters, but there was a time when Madonna was a pop culture phenomenon. She was a star who produced sensational, chart-topping smash hits. Now, the songs weren't any good, of course. There was never a time when Madonna was making good music, but she was relevant, and she sang.
Well, I have to disagree. Like in the 80s and in the 90s, Madonna made actually like really good music. But of course, Matt Walsh being a Christian, she really can't be in favor of Madonna because of Madonna's political views about, for example, religion. So understand that Matt Walsh, as an old-timer Christian, doesn't believe that Madonna made good music because the whole of Christianity basically hated Madonna.
Sang a lot about sex.
Yeah.
And people said, wow, did you hear that new Madonna song? She sings about sex again. And music critics said that it was groundbreaking because music critics have been calling sexual songs groundbreaking for the past 55 years or so. But each generation has its own revolutionary pop stars who sing about sex. Madonna was replaced by Britney Spears, and then Britney Spears went in.
Is there anything bad about singing about sex? I don't think so. Like, if you want to make a song about sex, make a song about sex. There's an audience for that. If you want to make a song about checkered shirts, pickup trucks, and fucking your cousin, we all know there's an audience for that. It's called country music. But yeah, like there's an audience for everything. I don't understand why sex is any worse than singing about war or killing somebody or killing yourself or drugs or anything. I don't see sex being any worse than those.
Insane and shaved her head, and she was replaced by Katy Perry, and then Katy Perry finished making her 3 songs, and she was replaced by somebody else, and then by somebody else, and then eventually Cardi B came along. And when Cardi B came along, music critics were astounded again. They said, my God.
I want to point out that every single artist Matt Walsh just spouted out of his fucking mouth were females. One could make an assumption from here that that's a pretty misogynistic take there. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that stating only female, because there have been men also who has sang about sex. Seal, George Michael, Barry Manilow's fucking catalog is basically just sex music, nothing else.
God, this one sings about sex in extra raunchy ways. This is the raunchiest we've heard yet. It's genius. But then came Lizzo, and critics exclaimed, wow, she sings about sex, and it's raunchy, female. And she's obese. And they were smitten anew. The point is that Madonna's time came and went. She's now 64 years old, which translates to 6,400 years old in pop star years. She might as well have been born in the early days of the Sumerian Empire at this point. And you might think then that she would simply just take her hundreds of millions of dollars, retreat to a private island, and live out the rest of her life in peace, confident that she has passed the whorishness torch to a new generation of musical prostitutes. But Madonna...
Okay, so this is just like Matt Walsh not understanding women, calling them whores, like prostitutes. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Again, like the Madonna take that she should just retire in an island somewhere. If she wants to make music, let her make music, just like the Rolling Stones, just like Iron Maiden, for example, one of my favorite bands ever. They're in their late 60s and still rocking it. I don't want them to retire yet. If they want to make live gigs and want to make new music, I'm all for that, just like for Madonna.
Has thrived on attention. She's lived off of it, fed on it like a vampire bat for decades. She doesn't know how to do anything else. And so grandma emerges from her mansion every once in a while, disfigured from plastic surgery, looking strikingly similar to a 1990s Marilyn Manson, actually, and she makes another bid for the world's attention. And that's what led to this TikTok video a few days ago, where she seems to come out of the closet. Watch.
Like, before I hit go live and record, I talked about this video title with my wife, and she was like, "Isn't she already gay?" Like that isn't a surprise for anybody. And I have to say that, like, somebody's sexuality, somebody's gender, or anything, it's none of my business. So I don't know if Madonna is gay or not, because it's none of my business. But if she is, congratulations. If she's not, congratulations. But I don't know why it's a big deal. Like, if she is gay and she wanted to make a TikTok like that, why is it a big deal?
I told you, she looks like Marilyn Manson. She does. I don't mean that as an insult. Well, it's hard to say that as not an insult. But anyway, so
I don't think it's an insult looking like Marilyn Manson. I know why he believes that. Because again, Marilyn Manson is the Antichrist for Christians, which is fucking ironic because Marilyn Manson has actually met the Pope. And her father was a priest, and his family was really religious. And Marilyn Manson is a really smart guy, actually. So I understand that, again, Christian Matt Walsh is trashing Marilyn Manson, just like Madonna.
So she throws her panties towards the garbage can, and she misses. And this is her strange metaphorical way of telling us that she's sexually attracted to women. Of course, she already kind of made that announcement when she made out with Britney Spears on stage at the VMAs like 2 decades ago. So this is not exactly.
You don't really kissing another female doesn't make you gay. Kissing another man doesn't make you gay. How fucking insecure are you? Kissing your sister doesn't make you born in Alabama or live in Alabama, or kissing your brother. Like, I just think Matt Walsh is really insecure about himself because he doesn't actually know how the world works. If he thinks that kissing another woman makes you gay, like, that is actually a really common thing in, like, female friendship. They kiss each other's cheeks and lips quite a lot. Doesn't mean anything.
Exactly breaking news. If she was intending to be in the closet this whole time and keep it a secret, then she must have been utilizing the hide in plain sight strategy.
It doesn't even make you bi. That's actually a great point. It doesn't even make you bi. That's true.
But why not go back to the well and come out of the closet again? This is a tried and true tactic among celebrities these days. Demi Lovato has come out of the closet 7 different times as 7 different versions of gay. And she just keeps on doing it. Everyone is desperate to come out of the closet these days, even if they were never in one to begin with.
I think Matt Walsh should also come out of the closet, that he doesn't understand sexuality, he doesn't actually understand gender. And he's just an insecure Christian little man. And he needs to come out of the closet and admit that.
This week, we had a National Coming Out Day, which featured lots of similar public declarations, like this one from somebody named Lee Sharp. He tweets, "Happy Coming Out Day. I am polyamorous and in an organically formed triad with my 2 lovely partners. We also each in various amounts date others as well. Just as people can love more than one parent or child or friend, romantic love for multiple people is valid too." Well, at least the triad is organically formed. Call me a purist, but I prefer organic triads. That's just what I prefer. Sometimes I'll buy a few bundles of them in the produce section at Wegmans, keep them in vases around the house. They make, for nice decorations, especially because of the bright colored hair. Now, in their case, the interesting thing is that the guy, he looks like a relatively normal guy, like he should be working at Office Depot or something, except for the hair, which looks like it was dyed with food coloring without his consent while he was passed out. The 2 women, on the other hand, are going for the typical Star Trek villain aesthetic. But the point is that, though I cannot much relate to...
Again, like, just like previously, he was bashing female artists only for singing about sexuality. Now he's also bashing only the female, which I have to say, there's nothing wrong with them. Is there something wrong with them? I don't see it. I watched quite a few episodes of Star Trek. I've never was a huge fan, but these doesn't look like Star Trek villains to me. I don't think there's nothing wrong with this. I just think that this is, again, an insecurity of Matt Walsh.
Shrek villain aesthetic. But the point is that though I cannot much relate to the sort of women that this guy's attracted to, he is still attracted to women. He's in a sexual relationship with women. We're at a point now where straight men can come out of the closet as straight men, and nobody questions it as long as their hair is dyed an unnatural color. I could color my...
You can do with your hair what the fuck you want to. You can do with your beard what the fuck you want to. You can dress as how you want to dress. This guy sounds like he wants everybody to look like this. And I'm gonna say fuck no. I wouldn't want to look like this.
Mine green and come out of the closet as I could come out of the closet as a man in a mono-amorous relationship with one woman. And as long as I have the green hair, I too would be welcomed into the LGBT fold.
I'm pretty sure Matt Walsh will never be welcomed there. In common green, pink, blue, like those.
Well, maybe not me specifically, but most people could do that. The LGBT initialism has been expanded precisely to include every possible sexual orientation. That's how we end up with labels like demisexual, which describes people who need to feel an emotional connection to someone in order to be sexually attracted to them, otherwise known as that's women. That's how women are. There are also gray sexuals. Those are people who are sometimes sexually attracted to other people and sometimes not. So if you've ever been in a room and not felt sexually attracted to somebody in it, then you're gray sexual. Congratulations, you're LGBT. And then there are aromantic people, which are those who, not to be confused with asexual. Aromantic, those are people who experience sexual attraction, but often have no romantic feelings or attachments that go along with it. So they're sexual, but they're not romantic.
I actually like question why the fuck is he talking about other people's sexuality so much? Like, especially because 4 minutes ago, he was demonizing Madonna and other female artists for singing about sexuality and also like sexuality in show business. Like, why the fuck is this guy so interested about other people's sexualities? Like, it doesn't concern him at all.
Which, according to almost any single woman on the dating scene, describes almost every single man on the dating scene. The LGBT community is the only oppressed victim group in human history that people are desperate to be associated with. It's the only victim group that people would pretend they are a part of for the sake of social status, rather than pretending they're not a part of for the sake of self-preservation, which is usually historically how it goes. With
do you have any studies about this? Do you have a citation again? You can't like throw statistics like that without any citation, thank you. Of course, Matt Walsh will not provide any citation because, well, he doesn't have any.
Victim groups. It holds this unique position among historical victim groups because, of course, it is not a victim group at all. Quite the contrary. It is the group with the highest cultural status, the most social capital. And you always know what that group is. And the saying is, like, whatever group you're not allowed to criticize, that's the group with the that's at the top of the hierarchy. And that's true with the LGBT also. But another way of looking at this is like, what is the group that people are clamoring to be in? What's the club everybody wants to be a part of?
Why would you want to be in a group where you are still getting stoned in half the world, put into jail in half of the world? And even in the United States, if you go to Alabama or other states that are heavily Christian and conservatives, you can get beaten up for having a rainbow flag or having different color hair. That has happened. I'm going to find this is going to be a YouTube video. I'm going to find a couple of links there, or like news outlets, because I've seen a lot of them. And because of your sexuality, you will get beaten up, even murdered. Why would you want to belong to a group like that? That's a more valid statement than what Matt Walsh just showed.
And that partly explains, too, the extreme rocket-like rise in gender non-conforming so-called identities. As the Daily Caller reports this week, Maryland's largest public school district saw a 582% increase in the number of students identifying as gender non-conforming in just 2 years, according to internal data posted to an educator's Twitter page. Montgomery County Public Schools gathered this data from forms school counselors fill out when students approach them to talk about gender identity issues. Because the numbers rely on self-reporting, the near sevenfold increase from 2019 to 2022 could indicate a massive increase in the number of gender diverse students, an environment that encourages those students to be more open with counselors or both. During the 2019 to 2020 school year, a total of 35 students reported gender nonconformity to a counselor, including 4 elementary school students, 19 middle school students, and 12 high schoolers. During the 2021 to 2022 school year, the total number of students reporting gender nonconformity spiked to 239, including 18 elementary school students, 129 middle schoolers, and 92 high schoolers. So, kids in school have gotten the message. How could they not? It's screamed at them everywhere they turn.
No, it isn't. It isn't screamed. They just paint this awful picture that it is. The reason why the numbers has spiked so much after 2019 was like it was really taboo to talk about it in 2018 and before that, and there weren't studies made. So of course, if you do the study in 2019 and 2020 again, when it's more acceptable and more mainstream, there's gonna be a huge spike. Unfortunately, it would be like going to a city that doesn't have cars at all, and giving them cars, and next year going there and count how many traffic accidents were there, and reporting that like, oh, cars are fucking dangerous because the spike on the traffic accidents were like 1,000%, which is actually true because there weren't cars before, so there can't be any traffic accidents. This is the sort of like fucking studies.
That being a normal straight person who identifies as their own biological sex is uncool and uninteresting. And so they're trying to keep up with the trend, as kids always have. The difference is that when I was a kid, keeping up with the trend meant wearing jeans that didn't fit. For a brief, strange moment in the 90s, it also meant carrying a yo-yo around in your pocket and showing off your yo-yo tricks. That was a thing. Kids, it was a simpler time. Now, keeping up with the trend means fundamentally changing your identity.
That's not actually true. Like, as a person who's been a child in the 90s and early 2000s, changing your identity has been among children since the fucking dawn of time. Like, for example, in the 90s, a lot of children and the youth were changing to that grunge thing, like Nirvana, being really fucking depressed, and that's changing your identity. A lot of people stayed there, but a lot of people came out from there. Like, I'm gonna say that the children of today is more happy than the children of, for example, the 70s or the 80s, where religion was the main source of rules, how a children should behave, and for the punishments also.
But it is more than just a matter of trends. We're also witnessing, I think, the death of personality.
No.
People have lost the ability to talk about their personalities, and they're increasingly losing their ability to develop personalities.
No, this is a white man cope. Like, the whole thing about this video is he's been talking about people having more personalities, like having more individual personality traits. So nowadays people have more of like a clear individual personality than before, which is a good thing. The personality he's talking about is the fundamentally white person. Can't talk about being white. Boo-hoo. Boo the fucking who.
In the first place. LGBT identification and gender nonconformity are, among other things, a replacement for personality.
No, they are personalities.
Those who claim these identities will pretend that they're unique and independent and all of that, but in fact, they are fleeing from the unique, from independence.
They are fleeing from the fucking mass grouping of people. They are actually more independent than this guy. This guy is just what they want to call a sheep, following the mass, not going his own way.
They seek to label and categorize every part of themselves with nothing left over. Nothing left of them after they've claimed all of their letters in the LGBT alphabet soup.
I think he understands
And that's why
it
they
wrong.
all end up looking the same and sounding the same
No.
and thinking the same way about everything.
Matt Walsh sounds exactly the same as many fucking 80s. Who's born in the 70s, born in the 80s. I don't think he's the right person to say he's an individual or he has a unique personality. You can find these right-wing middle-aged men everywhere that look like and sound like Matt Walsh.
It's no wonder that someone like Madonna has jumped on the trend. Her life has been nothing but a series of publicity stunts. She hasn't had a true human personality for decades. She doesn't even have.
You're really saying that Madonna, who is one of the biggest female artists ever, doesn't have a unique personality? Well, I beg to differ. That's the reason why Madonna's stayed relevant, is because of her unique personality.
Have a true human face anymore. She has dissolved whatever was authentic and real within herself and traded it in for whatever it is that she is now.
You could sum up Matt Walsh's videos to one sentence, and it's man angry because things are different. That's basically Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is being angry because things are different that the Bible and his father, who probably beat him, taught him when he was a child. Because back then that was acceptable. That was acceptable. Teaching your child how to behave was to beat him. And that was something probably Matt Walsh also experienced. Because back then it was acceptable. This is nothing new. Back then it was acceptable also to beat your wife. Thank God it isn't anymore. I think because what I'm hearing about what Matt Walsh is saying about change, I'm pretty sure he wants to go back to the past where that was also acceptable. I don't like that. I'm glad we have come forward so we don't need to hang black people or stone gay people or beat your wife. I'm glad that we have come pretty far from that.
But at least she made some money on the deal, which is more than can be said for most of the people who are following in her footsteps. Still, I think she is the one who is today canceled. And that'll do it for this portion of the show. As we move over to the members block, hope to see you there. If not, we'll talk to you.
Yeah, fuck that shit. No members block for me. So, he's just fucking confused. He doesn't understand sexuality. He's really insecure about his own sexuality. He's insecure about his own gender. And overall, he's just really confused. I think Matt Walsh should get some... go to a camp where they will wash the Christianity out of him. So he would actually become a better person. I think the Christian upbringing is actually fucking him up.